This is task 3B part 4, where you're asked to show annotated evidence of all queries and calculations used to create the form, including any calculations that are not shown on the form. So let's have just a look at all the calculations. These are the calculations we've got: the basic weekly charge, the additional equipment charge, the age of the vehicle and age discount, total weekly charge. We've got our charge rates and our total charge rate here. Now what we can do is we can actually set up the text boxes of these in advance. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to our design view here and we'll set up some text boxes. So I'm just going to move this along a little bit and we can then work on this while looking at this as well. So I'm going to create a text box here. This will be for the basic weekly charge. And I'm going to give each of these text boxes a name so that we can actually make reference to them. So this one I'm going to name basic weekly. So if I go to all, you see it's called text 20 at the moment, so I'm going to call this basic weekly. Now I can go on creating the other text boxes in the same sort of way. So we'll have our additional equipment charge. And what I'm going to do is just pause the video and put the others in. So now these are all in, we can just use the handle in the top left hand corner of the labels just to give a bit more space to see each of the titles. So we'll just pull these across a bit. In fact, it's going to be this one that's going to be our benchmark. So we need to move them all to be in line with that. So that's quite straightforward to do. And then we need to give each one of them a name like we did with basic weekly charge, although we don't need to do it with the total weekly charge because we're not actually going to be using that in the calculation. So we'll name this one additional equipment, but rather than all of that, let's just keep it nice and short. So equip charge, we'll name this one age, we'll name this one age discount. And so we don't need to name that one because we're not going to be performing any calculations on that. And then down here we've got our charge rates. We need to total those up, so we need to have a total charge rate. Now what we need to do is we'll need to put that in the form footer. So what I'm going to do is make form footer a little bit bigger here, and we'll take a text box. That will be for our total charge rate. And again, I'm going to name that one as total charge rate, and then we can actually make reference to that again. So there's some basic formulas that don't require much effort. The first formula that we can do is the basic weekly charge, because we're told, if we look down here, that the basic weekly charge is the charge for hiring the caravan divided by 400. So let's put that in. So in our bit here we'll put equals the original value, which is the name that's been assigned to this here, divided by 400. Let's see what it looks like so far. Okay, so that actually works out at 400 because it's 160,000. There we go. Obviously we need to change that to pounds. In fact, most of these are going to be pounds, so let's select all of them that need to be pounds and format those now as currency. While we're at it, we'll format this one as a percentage, and again we'll have no decimal places because none of the others had decimal places. So the next one that's easy to calculate is going to be the total charge rate, because that's just going to be a sum of the charge rates. So what we're going to do is I'll just get rid of the property sheet so we can see what we're doing. Equals sum, open brackets, and then we need to put in square brackets charge rate. and then close the brackets again. And that should now sum up all of those charge rates. Let's have a look, see if it does. Okay, well, of course, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, etc. is going to be 0. So we've got to expect that. We've then got our additional equipment charge. Now, if we have a look at this, it says additional equipment charges are added to weekly charge. Now, we don't need to worry about the percentages. What we need to know is that it's the total percentage charge at the moment multiplied by the basic weekly charge. So it says a percentage of that basic weekly charge. So we can put that in. Now what I'm going to do to make life a little bit easier, just go back to our property sheet. We're going to click on these dots by control source for the equipment charge. And that will allow us to access a few more things. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set this to be equal to our basic weekly charge, which is there. So we're going to scroll down and find our basic weekly. There it is. And that is then going to be multiplied by this total charge rate in the subform. So I'm going to click on the plus here, go to equipment installation subforms and find that total charge rate. Now you'll notice that it's not there. Okay. Now the reason it's not there is one of these anomalies of Access. We've got to save the form. So what I'm going to do at this stage is close the form, save everything, open it back up again. Whoops, that was the table. So open the form back up again, go into design view, and we'll do this again. Okay, so the additional equipment charge, click on the three dots, and we're going to go for the basic weekly charge multiplied by, and then we want the subform, and there it is, total charge rate. So because we've saved it, we can now access that. And that will just multiply it together. And if we go into datasheet view, we can see obviously it's going to be 0 because 0% at the moment of 400 is 0. But it's a nice simple calculation we've got out of the way, and of course you can show evidence of what you've done. You don't have to have done the harder calculations before you do these simple ones. Finally, we've got the total weekly charge. Now the total charge is going to be whatever the basic weekly charge is. We're going to then add to that the additional equipment charge, and we're going to subtract the discount. So that will be our total weekly hire charge after the equipment. And we've also done this one as well, haven't we? The total percentage, even though it's just showing as 0 at the moment, because 0 plus 0 is 0. So this is going to be, and we'll use our control source again, and we can have a look at what we're doing. So this will be whatever our basic weekly is, plus whatever our additional equipment charge is. So there's equipment charge, plus, minus whatever the discount is. So there it is, there's age discount. Okay. Now of course, our discount, everything is 0 at the moment, everything's 0, so it's not actually going to be, well, you can see it's not showing up at all. But we have at least set it up so that it's ready for when we put in the age and the age discount. So we've done a lot of the basic calculations here. We've done the basic weekly charge, that was this divided by 400. We've done the additional equipment charge, which was whatever the total charge rate is in terms of the percentage multiplied by the basic weekly charge. And we've also done the total charge rate, which was a sum of all the charge rates. So the next tutorial will take you through age and age discount.